It is very sad that as a continent, we are continuously doing the same thing every now and then and expecting different results. It's the same way we are doing here in Kenya and different African countries. We continuously say democracy is working or will work, but every political regime that comes in power, we've always seen people protesting. When you look at history, even during Kibaki's era, there's always something that was happening that the masses did not like, because we are in a system that does not care about people who look like us. We are increasingly seeing how capitalism is very racial in nature, and how capitalism has decided who owns what and who doesn't own what.
Welcome to Conversations in Literature. I am your host, Miyamoto Muswahili. This is episode 51. We are joined today by the author of this book. She is a philosopher in development, studied at Cambridge in the UK, which she will actually dispute, but more on that. Her name is Wavinya Makai. The name of the book is Capital Violence. Yeah. Hi.
Thank you so much for inviting me here. And this is a timely conversation. This is a conversation that, as a people who are struggling with high rate of unemployment, high rate of crime, and so many other things, and corruption still, bad governance, extrajudicial killing, and the rise of instability in terms of protests. This is a conversation that we need to have in the country, not only for the youths, but it should be intergenerational, because it's affecting the parents of Gen Zs who educated their children. But reality, kwa ground, is what we want a job. Why is so?
Why is that so?
Yeah. So my work is to interrogate the patterns, and I start from history, because history is important.
Okay.
Everybody understands their history very well, apart from Africa. When we talk about the Roman Empire, in Rome, things, when you go to Rome, do as the Romans. When you talk about the Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust, when you talk about French Revolution, the American Revolution, we talk about other people's history, but we don't talk about our own revolutions. We don't talk, even slave trade. You've increasingly seen African Americans or Black Americans, as they decide to term themselves, speaking about slave trade, but they don't understand exactly what is there. So I study epistemic injustice, and how epistemic injustice produces and continues to reproduce a society that is very colonial in mindset, in possibility, in governance, in education, and whatnot, and what power does in this system that is very colonial. We always talk about democracy, but whose democracy are we pursuing? We talk about the voting system. Duma Boko, the president of Botswana, said, it is very sad that as a continent, we are continuously doing the same thing every now and then and expecting different results. It's the same way we are doing here in Kenya and different African countries. We continuously say democracy is working or will work, but every political regime that comes in power, we've always seen people protesting. When you look at history, even during Kibaki's era, there's always something that was happening that the masses did not like, because we are in a system that does not care about people who look like us. And the reason why I'm saying this is because as a scholar, a researcher, we are increasingly seeing how capitalism is very racial in nature and how capitalism has decided who owns what and who doesn't own what.
Okay.
And I bring in thinkers like Achille Mbembe when he spoke about necropolitics. Necropolitics as a concept itself is who gets to own and who gets to become the labor. Who gets to industrialize, who gets to be told practice carbon credits, the conservancy lie, as Makai speaks about in his work on environment justice, and so many other scholars that are coming up with research. These are data-driven evidence. It's not stories ajaba, as we normally say, or conspiracy, because if anything does not make sense from a Western perspective, it's a conspiracy. And this brings us to current reality in the continent. The other day, our chief cabinet secretary, Mudimbe, as we normally refer to him, he said that as Kenyans, we should not speak more about Burkina Faso because the military has taken charge, and that is a very crazy system of governance. But when you look at Africans who've gone there, storytellers, journalists, podcasters, we're seeing a different reality. So it begs the question, whose democracy are we pursuing? And what reality are we living as Africans? And that's why I came up with a book called Capital Violence, The Economic War on African Dignity, just to show you that colonization never left. It mutated. The gunpowder was replaced by policy. The slave trade or colonial concentration camps replaced by these denied visas. Or if you're given a visa, what exactly are you going to do out there? Because Africans out there are suffering. Reality on the ground, the way we used to think that you need to go to school, speak good English, so that you can go west or work for their multinational corporations, that reality is increasingly becoming a fallacy. White collar job is dead. Studies show that African informal sector employs close to 75% of the population. Yes.
I won't kuuliza kuna history ya structural adjustment programs. I always say that those SAPs, structural adjustment programs, is how we lost the soul as Kenya, or maybe even other African countries, because kuna vitu mingi that are wrong in Kenya. You know how you can trace a lot of things to colonization?
Yeah.
Or you can trace a lot of things to kuna vitu government ya Kenyatta ilifanya in terms of creating an imperial presidency and a dictatorship hapo. So you can trace a lot of things to that. The next one, you can trace a lot of things to structural adjustment programs. You can trace even the fact that there was no literature industry for a very long time. I don't know why it's not talked about, because I analyzed it, the history, and I realized the reason was that you see, previous to the structural adjustment programs, the government used to subsidize education, healthcare, so the government used to buy textbooks, right? So now the World Bank says we are going to do a system where governments should not be subsidizing education, right? So if government is not subsidizing education, it means government is not buying textbooks for people. If government is not buying textbooks, it means publishers now have to face the market. Which means publishers have to do the work of selling books. Because before, since they had already guaranteed they will make their millions from the government, selling textbooks.
Yeah.
Publishers now used to focus on novels. So in the 80s, 70s, in the 70s, 60s, especially 70s, the watu kama Heinemann walifanya two versions. Walifanya African Writers series where they published a lot of these great African authors that you know. That is why we know Ngoyo wa Thiong'o. They published him. We know Chinua Achebe, they published him. Actually, he was the editor. They published so many in the African Writers series.
Yeah.
Then they realized people have a hunger for popular fiction. So, you know, detective stories, those sorts of stories, like story zenye watu zinabamba watu. So they created an imprint called Spear Books, where they published popular novels. That's how you get the Mejamwangi novels. You get novels, this other guy, what do you call this one? Across the Bridge. You get A Girl Cannot Go On Laughing All the Time. There's one I'm looking for, My Life in Crime. You get those John Kiriamete novels. Then structural adjustment programs happen. Government is not buying the textbooks. What do publishers do? They stop publishing novels. Of course, by that time also kulikuwa na the crackdown on writers by the regime and on publishers. So still, publishing was already very dangerous. So ilikuwa imefika mahali maybe even publishers themselves were seeing fiction as a risk. But now with the structural adjustment programs, they now completely stop publishing novels and they start publishing textbooks purely. And if there's a novel they will publish, ni yenye sasa wataipeleka KICD, ikuwe approved, ikuwe set book. And then now, if you see if it's a set book, it's a textbook.
Yeah.
So they focused on textbooks. And then from there, the industry collapsed. And in the 90s, almost nothing was happening. Very few books, you know. Maybe The River and the Source. Nothing was happening. In the 2000s, you have Kwani coming in. But Kwani is not doing publishing as a business. It's more of an NGO because they get funding from the Ford Foundation, which is how they were able to run it. So until very recently, there was no real industry in terms of business. So all that comes from the structural adjustment programs. So I want us to talk about that. About
this cancer. This cancer, you know, writing is a creative art and knowledge is power. No matter what kind of knowledge you're consuming, because it shapes your reality. Remember, we are memories. Since we grew up, we are accruing memories. How you think about America is because of the movies that you watched, or if you've traveled there and all that stuff. But majority of Africans accrue or get their worldview is shaped by either what they watch or read.
Okay.
So knowledge is always power. And with that, structural adjustment is one of the biggest beasts that came to attack the post-colony state. The beast that people like Kwame Nkrumah, who was ousted through a coup because he had clarity about what was going on, wrote a book on neocolonialism, the last stage of imperialism, showing African leaders, visionary leaders, that we have been duped. The conditions are not favoring us, because we are seeing, when you look at slave trade, the reason why even slave trade ended is because it was expensive to continuously take people there, and then they had felt they've gotten to a level where they've industrialized the way they want. Now they started using racism to counter the slavers who were the slaves who were growing up out of that system of slavery. And now they realized, instead of now bringing the people, let's go bring the minerals. So it's an extractive economy. It extracts creativity, and once the biggest power, which is knowledge, once it's distorted, or once you're given the dosage that they want you to have, then it shapes how you think, how you even do individual development, how you raise your family, how you interact with the community, and how you even think about your economic power, your freedom also, and all that stuff. Because as a continent, there's this narrative that kept on being perpetuated. If you want to hide anything from an African, do it in a book. But they realize you cannot do that if the books are available here. So you'll find that books like for people like Anyang Nyong, who've spoken about reality on the ground and what policies that are decided elsewhere are doing, democracy and all that stuff. Him having been part of the political students in Kenya who got out and started writing. Ali Mazrui, in his African Conditionality, he speaks about the warrior spirit and how the warrior spirit was countered through knowledge. You tell people their ancestors were naked savages, they used to eat people, but right now you're realizing, wait a minute, Epstein, and it's countering a lot of narratives that were taught to us about our people. Because the way you can colonize the mind is by telling this mind, this is how your ancestors were like. So they don't have identity. Look at what we study. Look at our reading list. Everything is so Western centric. Sylvia Tamale did a very good in her book Decolonization and Afrofeminism about the Eurocentric pedagogy that we've assuaged as a people that gives us the colonial way of thinking, which ties to what Mudimbe spoke about. The African mind gets into the global archive through the colonial library. So everything that you're saying, we are seeing the Western world as the savior. And the reality is here. Even when we were protesting against this system, the IMF, the structural adjustment programs, we were still seeking the same people who wrote these conditions, who told our governments, this is how you get to develop. Open your market, allow investors, stop providing subsidies in matters of education. Once you stop providing social protection to the society, you start killing their creativity, because creativity is not only about writing, it's even innovation. Someone comes with an idea that is gonna shape how we do things. So people start living in survival mode, and then you find that your frequencies, your consciousness oscillates in that survival mode to a point that now you can't think about actualizing, because reality, Mswahili, is the ground, what wanaishi from hand to mouth. It doesn't matter where you've gone to school to currently. While I was at Cambridge, I was shocked to see Africans working in supermarkets after they've graduated. Others are still struggling right now. When you truly graduate now, they're struggling still there. Especially the West Africans. They cannot go back to their country because their countries are even worse than ours. So white collar job is becoming a fallacy. Things like democracy is becoming a trap. The ballot system is also becoming a trap, because as we spoke earlier about Duma Boko, president of Botswana, doing the same thing. As a society, we need to sit down and ask, we have been saying democracy, and then we look at case studies, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and currently also we are increasingly seeing other countries outside Africa doing. So even Madagascar went through that. And we are asking ourselves, after this, what's happening? Because we need to study what revolution is. Because every time people think about revolution, they always see the negative side of it. the killing, the everything, because I mean a system will come to you. What Gen Zs were trying to do together with millennials.
You know, you said when people think about revolution, they only think about the killing.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
How can I look beyond the killing?
The French Revolution. We keep, all of us want to go to France, to Britain, to US, to these countries.
Yeah.
You study, you know, history is...
The French Revolution was a nasty thing.
But why do we want to go there? If before that, when she was called Maria Antoinette, with her cake issue, telling people, she didn't understand.
She didn't actually say that.
They didn't understand the ground, because the ground was suffering.
Yeah, true.
You know? And as a people, that's why I'm saying we need to have a conversation as a people and speak. Because if we don't speak, Kofi Annan in his book, Intervention, said, if the governments of African countries will not be able to provide opportunities and hope for the youth, instability will continuously grow. We go back to Chancellor William, the African American. He said the same thing back in the days when the youth Negro grow and realize they are in a system that has continuously decapitated their chance to self-actualize, they will continuously rebel. So the way we study history, we approach everything with fear and a lot of humility. And look at us, look at our realities. Look at how many people are suffering. Look at how many people have even started committing suicides. The society is our fabric as thinkers, as creators. When novelists like you write your novels, you get your power from the society. Like when I was reading The Den of Inequalities by Kombani, inspiration came from the Njoro community and how it connects to the larger country. So even as thinkers, development thinkers, philosophers, we do the same. Our work germinates from the reality on the ground. But because we have been subjected through the colonial library that teaches you going back to the past will not help you solve the problem. Yet when you go to the hospital, they tell you what happened. So they have to visit the past. Even when nowadays, when people talk about relationships and all that stuff, you see someone say, I had to think, why am I attracting this kind of a person? You know, it is everywhere apart from our history. That's why you will see the Holocaust. Juzi, slave trade is the first time UN is passing a resolution saying it was the gravest, heinous crime committed to a people. But look at the people who vetoed it and look at the people who abstained.
Can you demystify the concept here, colonial library?
Colonial library is the kind of education system that we are having right now and we've been having for the longest time ever, which teaches us to be civilized is to be European, that makes you live your culture, your language, what Ngugi wa Thiong'o was speaking about in decolonizing the mind, and thinking everything good come from the US or Europe. And what kind of this library, because library is not only what you read at school, is what we watch. When we talk about CIA, FBI, because we watch 24 hours, Jack Powers and all that Prison Break, we think these people are real commandos. Sisi, we don't, even the film industry doesn't tell our stories the way it's supposed to be, the way we want them to be told. What a letter, very mediocre, even in writing, like they will support things that will tend not to make you think critically. So the colonial library has continuously reproduced a people who see the Western world as the savior. When we say we want the international community to come and help us. The same people that you're calling are the same people who are giving us carrots in terms of supporting our protests or our grievances, but on this other hand, they are giving us a stick under the diplomacy of carrot and stick diplomacy. And in stick is they're beating us by the multinational corporation loot more even than what corrupt leaders do. And then they even entice these corrupt leaders that we have to send their money and invest outward. Umesikia saizi history ya Iran, bombing, Dubai, tunasikia there's some African politicians kidogo wanashtuka because they don't invest here. And if you see, I always see a lot of these political regimes in Africa as very colonized and also very narrow-minded. Because if this money they're stealing, if they could input it in this continent, we will not be having this craziness. If they decided, yes, I've stolen because I'm a thief, I was born a thief, but instead of taking it out there in Panama Island, let me use this money here and build. Like in Salona wanawekanga two malls. Create something that will generate income, like factories. You know, so that is the colonial. The colonial library captures even your imagination, even how you think about development as a government and even as a people. And also the colonial library, which is also tagged towards religion, spirituality, and awareness, and anything that you feed your mind with is determined by that colonial library that we've persistently continued to think I'm very well educated. I don't consider myself educated. I consider myself as very well read. I understand the Eastern thoughts, the Western thoughts, and now the African thoughts. And if you are able to see how these other thoughts, because you know, knowledge is power. And epistemic injustice is produced when another empire counters your empire with knowledge. Look at what we are seeing bots online talking about Burkina Faso. It shapes our perspective. That's why people are saying Burkina Faso, but we're seeing them developing in ways when they had the French unity in them because they were assimilated and their money, imagine all their money used to go to France so that they can be given sadaka amani tithe ya ku develop the country.
So capital violence ni nini?
Capital violence is when policies I use because capital is capitalism. Capitalism is an ideology that develops one part of the world while underdeveloping the other world, the other parts. When I understood this definition, I was like, capitalism.
That's the definition of capitalism?
Yes.
Developing one part of the world
while it underdeveloped the other part of the world. That was lesson 1 that we were taught at Cambridge. And from that day, I deconstructed what I knew about capitalism.
If that is capitalism, what is communism?
Communism is what is practiced by the Eastern world, whereby they use the community to develop. But you know, communism, because of the colonial library, Africans, we've understood it as something negative. Because if you thought communism, you're killed or ousted or distorted or just something. Your dignity was taken away from you because of how you thought about it. But now, one of also the things that you're talking about, this colonial library, epistemic injustice, takes us away from Africa. Africa, there's a concept of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is also a philosophy that can produce economy, education, governance, and so many other things. But because of how the narrative has been captured, it's either you fall in either side. For me, sometimes people tend to refer me to a Marxist. Like, no, I'm a Pan-Africanist. I've never actually read Karl Marx. I write using my lived realities. As someone who grew up in Huruma, which is in Mathare constituency, lack was like a normal thing. But now interacting with media, books, you realize other people were living in dignity. And so for me, that became my pursuit. And my mom used to tell us, there's nothing I can give you other than education. Only to get to Cambridge and realize that I was chasing an illusion. Because it's only few percentage of us in Africa who get to work for these multinational corporations. Ali Mazrui, in his book African Conditionality, said the way this white scholar fallacy is created is some people are educated either to become clerks to the government or clerks to the multinational corporations. And he kicks away humility by saying, even if you're given a particular level in these multinational corporations, you're still a clerk, because your decision will really not matter, because you're helping them to make profits in this extractive economic system that has continuously looted from the continent. That's why we have Congo being one of the biggest mineral providers, but look at their children still living in slavery. Their children there right now as you're speaking, who are in the mines.
So let me ask you, Kenya does not practice capitalism.
Kenya practices capitalism.
It sounds like if you say that capitalism is a system of government which benefits one side of the world while taking from another side, Kenya is not taking from elsewhere, it's Kenya being taken from.
Yeah.
So we don't practice capitalism, others practice it on...
No African country practices capitalism.
Like it sounds like they are practicing it on us.
On us.
Rather than us
yes, practicing on us. So they are taking, for them, it's called extractive economic model.
What about internally? Us? Does that mean even whatever we are doing, our economy, the way it's planned, it is not benefit, like our economy, you know, we say that Kenya is a capitalist country because there is no we have private land, private ownership, so we have capitalism, but it suggests that actually even the economy we have, it is not designed to benefit us.
Yeah, because even the few capitalists, the black capitalists we have, where do they take the money when they get sick? Where do they take their children when they want them to have higher level of education? Where do they tour? Where do they invest? And when they get sick, which hospitals do they go to? So capitalism is an extractive, violent model when you think from our perspective as Africans. When you sit down and say, I have looked at capitalism and then I'm looking at us because we are data. You know, we don't consider ourselves. Data is us, our behavior, our lived reality, our social mobility. In Kenya right now, we have a lot of young, educated youths. And the same youths don't have jobs. And it's not conspiracy. Gen Z movement germinated because watu wako home. TikTok live, watu wako saa nne mchana unapata watu wako kwa TikTok live wengi hata 1,000. Alafu kila mtu anasema wacha nikae hapa juu sina hakuna kitu cha kufanya, and everybody is complaining about the government, about the situation. People have been complaining, and at different stages people have taken the mantle and followed the teaching of Frantz Fanon. Out of relative obscurity, each generation must discover its mission, either fulfill it or betray it. So people are now discovering their missions. That's why you're also asking questions. Why am I told to show, tell? Why are these books available vis-a-vis the others, you know? Because the way a system encompasses so many things. The education is linked there, the economy is linked there, the creatives linked there, the visionary, even how we do business. When we're doing business, unasikia, hizi ni nyumba za sijui which politician. A house and a factory, which will change the society. When we talk about our governance, the government is developing. Yes, we need roads, we need all these infrastructures, but it will have been easy to build these infrastructures without getting into debt. We take money to build something, and most of these infrastructures, they are assisting other people than us. Yenye saizi wametuletea affordable housing. When you look at it, bila maneno mingi, it's a concentration camp. It's a replica of what happened in America back in the 60s and 70s, the Bronx. Saizi Bronx kuna kaje? Yes, these are projects. This is a project. And when people try to make other reason, because we have been so colonized and we don't reimagine any other way of doing things. Saizi ukiambia mtu hii ballot narrative I work. Mtu nakuuliza sasa tutafanyaje? Tumefika mahali pa kila mtu anauliza sasa solutions ziko wapi? Because no one can see themselves as someone providing solution. So us as philosophers and even novelists and anyone who's doing creative work, we are supposed to unite more than ever right now to show and help people reimagine. The reason why we are even seated here is because people like Kakina Kwame Nkrumah and all those founders, Akina Oginga Odinga and the rest of them, reimagined a free population. So they were not chasing a system that is for them. But we have been so individualized, and majority, especially after the post-colony states, a lot of Africans left. You get education, you go advance, and you never come back. And then the government is corrupt. Why didn't you come back with all those knowledge that you accrued there to come and tell people this is happening? But what happened if it easy? Because we are a very fearful people, and we practice scholarly humility. At our lecturers in class, instead ukiuliza swali very critical, utaona ataki kuingia hapo, una feel there's just fear, because fear is created through the empirical evidence that we've had as a people. Kuna kina Thomas Sankara wameuliwa, writers like Walter Rodney, how Europe underdeveloped Africa, assassinated Amel Cabral, telling us go back to the source and remember as Africans, because you can do that. And other people's works that we've not, like epistemic injustice is also hiding, capturing the narrative. So as the new philosophers, we are saying we are going to free the narrative. But freeing the narrative comes at a cost. Sisi kama siku save tukiuko Cambridge na hiyo scholarship, because tulipo scholarship huko wezi afford watuka sisi wenye tumetoka kwa block. You save and then you say, let me publish one book. Nikitafuta pesa ya kupublish the second. Ndio unaona bado unatembea na manuscript. Because even you know how even distribution is very colonial. There's some places they'll tell you, oh, you're an independent writer, publisher. It's only Nuria and very few other places that are accepting people like us. But now, the good thing is the power of social media. Sometimes you use platforms like what our forefathers, the Oginga Odinga, the Kwame Nkrumahs, the Nassar, and so many other African leaders back then did is, some of them met in the diaspora. And then so people here are free. What can we do back home? So they united, as what Amel Cabral famous quote says, every African intellectual must unite with the nerve and arteries of its people. they united, they came back and they used the Lancaster platform. That's when a lot of deals, treaties were signed in Lancaster. So they will call African leaders because of like these points, the way right now Iran and US is having a conversation, there's 14 points, there's 10 points, everybody has their points. The way even right now, these credit rating agencies in the world, they are coming up with methodologies, frameworks, because hizi vitu zote zina affect sisi huku kwa ground. And they give people a time to counter. Most of the time Africans wako na a lot of scholarly humility. Mtu akiniona nimeandika capital violence, the economic war on African dignity. Ananiambia I'm like no. The reality ni is it not an economic war on you? Saizi mtu unakaa mnaishi tu nafuliza. Hand to mouth, you pay your bills and then you think that is how life is supposed to be. No. Because unaendelea na hiyo cycle siko kwa employment. Remember informal sector imeemploy watu wangapi? So mna hustle. So hustling yetu is very colonized. Na sisi tumeallow because of the library, the colonial library. So colonial library reproduces inequality. Colonial library produces what Ali Mazrui says, the dead warrior spirit of the African person.
All right.
Yeah.
So niko na swali hapa uliongea about the definition of capitalism, that kuna watu wana extract from other people. And you said that was what mlifunzwa Cambridge, which is interesting because Cambridge is in the UK.
Yeah. And
the UK is one of the countries which is doing this extraction. So this is actually what they are teaching themselves, like teaching their children.
See, this is what they grew up knowing. So when you grow up knowing something, now you decide what to do with the information. Because there's freeing the narrative, but what do you do with information? Class yetu tulikuwa 9 Africans out of 85 students from all walks of life, from almost 65 countries. And most of the Africans were still saying, with all this information that we got, we need to be colonized. Why? We still need, they think that for us to get full development, we need to be colonized again. And then you go back to Mudimbe and the colonial library. Colonial library teaches us our ancestors wetu walikuwa naked savages. Hii colonial library inatuonyesha Africans si wa creative, Africans hawako able. Kwa sababu everything tumelearn kwa hiyo colonial library. Zile books zenye tuna cite, zile movies tuna watch, zile maybe even music tunasikia, inatufanya alafu pia history yetu yenye tunajua our history kidogo tu maumau. But when it comes to World War I, World War II, sijui revolutions za watu wengine, we know much. Hata zile documentaries watu unaona wana watch, mtu anataka kujua another country in depth. Ni watu kidogo sana, they tend to kuja kwa continent wanasema, now I want to study the continent. Venye tulianza kuongea about how people who are writing fiction work do. Wakikuwa huku wataandika very good fiction work yenye ina speak to our reality. Wakienda huku wana change. It's the same way leo tunaona novel, tunaona movies. Tukiona movie ya Kenya, kuna kitu tutacheka tu, hata kama sometimes you like, I don't like this storyline, maybe una feel kwa hivi na hivi. But kwa nini tuna feel movies zetu ziko hivyo? Because we've not tujakubali bado kuona how can we master the art of storytelling whereby we mix different people. Like look at an office setup. Kuko na mtu mwenye anaosha, ako na story yake. Kuna mtu mwenye ni secretary, ako na story yake, all the way to the top of the hierarchy. And they meet in the same place. Tumeanza kumaster like South Africans, the storytelling, zinakuja, it's just that pia kuna a lot of violence. Na ukiangalia in everyday reality, unajua kama US.
Huja mention Nigeria. Ama wao waja master.
Nigeria tunaanza pole pole. Lazima ningerudi kwanza kwa US kidogo, because unajua bado ile colonial library na affect watu wengi. Ukienda US, ukiangalia hata zile series watu wanaangalia both female juu pia female kuna series zenye wanaangalia hata sisi tukigrow up na kumbuka tulikuwa tunaonyeshwa soap opera za huko juu ukionyeshwa kitu huko unasema ati hizi ni stories za village, hizi ni stories za ushamba. That's what watu wengi wanasemanga about our film, even our books. Nasemanga ni
wanazitumia as a joke kaa kusema ati like hiyo movie ni kama Papa Shirandula
kabisa,
nao kuonesha iko chini
and na watu waseme okay hii movie iko chini commenters wakujua wafanye wa charge the creators wa open up waonyeshe hii setup tunaonyeshwa story kama ya Papa Shirandula very good example anachunga nyumba ya someone else kwa nyumba pia kuko na story whites wame perfect kuonyesha story ya nyumba sana kuliko na sila wanaonyesha kwa gate, wanaonyesha kwa kitchen, wanaonyesha black person. Mimi nikigrow up niligrow up nikiwatch TCM movies. Kila siku ulikuwa unaona kama ni mtu ni mama
Tana classic movies.
Yes. Amejifunga kitambaa anakaa kama wewe. Do you know what that does to your imagination? Ucombine na stories za billboards. At least hizi billboards zimeanza kuchange, but billboards in the 90s huku Nairobi sisi city children billboards zilikuwa za watu nyoka ika wewe so unaona hata your imagination is captured.
Singe relate na hiyo story sikuzaliwa Nairobi.
Sasa sisi tulizaliwa Nairobi ukikumbuka utotoni kama ulikuwa mimi nilizaliwa tu nikiwa unajua kuna vitu zingine unazaliwa unajipata
ukiangalia
mimi una observe alafu unajipata unakuangalia. Mimi nimekuanga the observer hata nikiwa mdogo hata the Rwandan genocide nilikuwa na watch 1994 nilikuwa 6 years.
Wow, okay.
Yes. Mimi nilianza kujiintroduce kwa geopolitics because mamangu alikuwa anapenda sana so nini nitakuwa kwa nyumba kabisa dunia wiki hii so unakuwa siwoni mtoto utafanya nini na uko hapo na maybe umetoka kusoma room ni moja au tenda bedroom hakuna bedroom ni single room so utafanya so unaona dunia wiki hii so hapo ndo nili introduce kwa geopolitics nikaanza kuona venye watu wana fight alafu nashangaa every time kuko na fight kubwa sana ni ukukuitwa ya sasa unaonyesha Red Cross watoto makamasi njaa nini. Kwa hiyo dunia wiki hii stories za Afrika tuangazia usijui nini wapi every part of Africa.
Na dunia wiki hii ilikuwa ya wapi? Ilikuwa ya BBC ama ilikuwa ya nani?
I think so. Actually nitafunini juu mimi yo haikuwa yetu because it was part of the colonial library. Ndio una grow kijua watu mpaka wa leo unaonanga African Americans ama Black Americans depending na venye wanajiita they love saying that we the Africans are very inferior and they don't know how to govern themselves because even themselves were miseducated through hizo Jim Crow programs and Carter Woodson wrote about the miseducation of the Negro because even them will go through the colonial library and so new modern philosophers, thinkers, observers wanakuja wana realize hiki tu ifanyiki kwa only Africa, blacks in Africa, inafanyika kwa blacks all over the world. Hata waindi wenye ni weusi the same thing wa Arabu wenye ni weusi the same thing like the skin color imechukuliwa white is kwa hii polarity ya everything white is positive anything holy is white anything good is white white dreams hizo ni good dreams white magic good magic black dreams black hata mpaka blacksmith na tunasahau who actually is a blacksmith.
Kwani blacksmith ni kitu mbaya?
Unaona vile tunasemanga anything too black hata sale mtu anasoma black you might be well read so you understand these things because of your curiosity. Ni Afrika wangapi wako curious? Si wengi. So anything wakisikia au wanajua Afrika ukiambia mtu Cheikh Anta Diop wrote a book called The Origin of Civilization and he actually was able to give empirical evidence kuonyesha this is how Africa was. Kitambo mimi sikuwa na understand what they mean by we were civilized until nilienda Europe nikaingia kwa museums. Una realize artifacts zetu zina kuwa auctioned at millions of USD. Na yetu wanasema hizo zilitengenezwa na watu wa inferior. Artifacts zetu zimejaa huko, watu wanalipa kuingia museum, and then unakuja museum za Afrika hakuna vitu sana, ni vitu kidogo. Our people wenye waliuliwa wale kwanza visionary, kwanza ungekuwa kichwa ngumu wewe utauliwa na kichwa chako itaenda huko. That's why unasikia watu wakisema, Africans wakisema we want our people, our ancestors back. Wamejaza huko
vichwa.
Yes. Aya, una go through this same colonial library. Inasema the scramble and partition of Africa started in 1884-1885. It is still during the same period there was the European industrialization. Hata kama ilianza before, bado slave trade ilisaidia sana in their advancement before even colonization. And so leo nasema we only took the people and the artifacts. It's a lie, they even took the books. Na zenye wangechukua walikuwa na zibana. Alafu ikakuwa like if you think in a certain way, if you call your children in a certain name, if you practice certain way of worshipping, spiritualism ya Africa ikaitwa witchcraft. Ukiangalia Christianity, you know, usome the African way of worshipping, una realize also this is practicing witch, watu wakikunywa damu ya Yesu. And then unakuja unaanza kusoma other religions, una realize
paganism, kuna
other Buddhism, kuna other Krishna, and ukitoka kwenye una realize so many religions ziko, and those people wako blessed. Lakini so ukisema anything about Christianity ama Bible, unaambiwa blasphemy, utachomeka. Because colonial library introduced us to fear of asking. That's why inasemekananga curiosity killed the cat. But in reality, the more you're getting curious, the more you're becoming free. And the more you become free, the more you realize Africa, if we see what we have. This is the Garden of Eden. Mimi, I went to Europe, nikatembea kidogo. Uko ni buildings. Garden of Eden is here. Kenya tunapelekanga maua ngapi huko? Ukiingia kwa supermarket zao, unaona karibu kila kitu imetoka Afrika. Si ukiingia kwa supermarket zetu, karibu kila kitu imetoka, alafu tumeuziwa hiyo the western way of doing things. Tunasahau our way of doing things.
Acha nikuambia Kenya nimeelewa. Actually I have thought of it this way, but venye umeisema na ukaniambia hivyo ndivyo mlifunzwa, imenifungulia jicho. So venye umesema ati capitalism ni a system where there are people who are extracting na kuna wengine wanakuwa extracted from. So it tells me all this time tumeishi kuambiwa that capitalism is about ownership nini. And it is true, this is what our governments,
our colonial government.
Nasema after independence, our governments were like, we can either have a system where land is owned by the state, or we have a system where willing buyer, willing seller. So because of that, tunafikiria we have capitalism, and it even appears that we have it. We have people who have money. Tukona watu wana farm, at large scale. Tukona kampuni, watu wanaanzisha kampuni. So that's capitalism. Yes, but then at the global scale, at the international scale,
yes,
hatuko sisi
ndio pawns.
Sisi ni kama Europe inaown shamba, sisi ndio shamba.
Sisi ndio shamba, exactly.
Like sisi ndio shamba, which means wale watu kama sisi ndio shamba, the people who own the shamba ndio watapata dignity.
Yes.
Ndio maana hatuna dignity. And I see now dignity. The meaning of your book.
The economic war.
The book is Capital Violence, and the subtitle is The Economic War on African Dignity.
Yes.
Okay. I have understood something.
Yes. Because when you study a system, unajiangalia, unajichukua, wewe ndio data, sisi ndio data. Unajiangalia, am I living in dignity? Mimi nimeenda Cambridge na nilidhania masomo ni social mobility, but I also had a choice go that way. But nikajiuliza, what about the people that we grew up with? What about these people who are complaining? What if we reimagine another way of living? But unajua ku reimagine, it's not, it's unasikianga kitambo tukigrow, nilikuwa nasikia kwa kanisa kuna njia mbili. Kuna njia nyembamba na njia pana. Na uko na hiyo njia yenye ni nyembamba, not a lot of many people like going there jiko na mamawe, but hii njia nyingine kuna mafruits manini, and that's where na ni pana, that's where a lot of people go. People who are in the creative space, people unajua huyu mtu aki decide, let me tap into my writing or my advocacy or my oratory skills or something, I can be able to help shape how the society thinks about things, because knowledge is supposed to do something. It's supposed to make the society, not only yourself. It's not supposed to benefit yourself. That's why I keep on saying I am well read, not educated, because education through the colonial library has continuously brought individual dignity. Everybody is seeking their own dignity. Instead of thinking, how can we think as a people whereby we have factories, societies, everybody will not be equal in the society, but there's a way people can live. Kwa nini tuko na madhare? Kwa nini tuko na slums? Kwa nini watu wengi wanaenda shule na creators wako wapi? Investors wako wapi? Builders wako wapi? Kwa nini hatuna solutions? Kwa sababu everybody anatafuta kukuwa employed. So kama wewe ni builder, kama wewe ni visionary, uko na hiyo revolutionary spirit, unaona hii kazi ni inachokesha, because already it's survival, we are surviving. Na survival mode, what it does to a human being is it's either I decide if I can't beat them, join them, or I continuously go in this direction that is going to change how a society operates. Hakuna siku society ilichangiwa na ghost. Society has always been advanced by the people who revolted against a system. Na revolution, it's not just a revolution yenye tunaona yenye unaenda kwa documentary ama kwa movie unaona the Vikings, kila satu ni violence. Revolution inza kuapia revolution of the mind. What do I eat? What do I watch? What do I read? And then from there inaku advance, alafu you spread that knowledge. Naona watu wenye wanakuanga wamemake wanakujanga kutuambia, especially kama mtu alianza from rags to riches, anatukuja natuambia I started this, na tunakaa mtu mwenye ako keen ataona it's not an easy route. But watu wengi, because education inakwambianga when you grow up, what do you wanna be? A doctor, a teacher, a nurse, a pilot. Already it's conditioning you to seek white collar. Mpaka ushago, that's the thing. Mimi mama yangu alituambia the reason why alikuja na sisi Nairobi, yeye alishushago na kataka tuishi Nairobi, juu alijua alikuwa anaona watu wametoka Nairobi wanakaa vizuri, lakini hakujua Nairobi iko na different spaces. Hakujua kuna ghetto, unaweza kuja Nairobi na uishi ghetto. TikTok watu wanapendanga kuenjoy pipeline sana. Wanauliza mbona watu wanaishi hivyo? Because hii colonial library ina produce a people wenye warrior spirit imechoka, survival mode, watu wako kwa block wengi. So by the time unatoka tu upumzike, upunge hewa, kitu inaweza fanyika urudi kwa block. Na watu wengi wanaangalia story ya white collar jobs. But in reality ukiangalia watu wenye wameingia kwa white collar jobs ni kidogo kuliko wenye wako kwa nini. Na ndio watu understand venye nasema vizuri. Kila mtu arudi kwa class yake kutoka primary school, high school na university. Angalieni ni watu wangapi wako employed, especially millennials na Gen Z. Kwanza millennials hao ni very struggling generation juu hao walikuwa wanajua employment is the key. At least Gen Z walimeona tukikaa hivi lazima tufanye. Unaona Gen Z wanakuja na creativity, mtu atatengeneza flowers za pesa, auze, amake dough, mwingine ata so yeye anatumia pesa mtu amemtumia kutengeneza na namlipa. So hata so Gen Z wamekuwa very creative. Wengine watadu like so many things, watu wameanza kutengeneza bags, watu wameanza kutengeneza viatu. Creativity iko na society, nature corrects itself. So pia society always due consciousness, a mind was never meant to be colonized for long. Every time mind wanna feel sisi hatupati the right thing, people come, thinkers come, philosophers.
Ni kama white blood cells.
Yes, wanakuja wana nini. Juu hata ndio saizi tuanze sasa ku protest about structural adjustment programs. Hizi ni vitu and lazima ni wacha niingie kidogo kwa class. In 1971 the founding fathers and mothers came up with a document called New International Economic Order.
Founding fathers and mothers of
Africa.
Oh.
Yes, okay. Through the OAU. And then they submitted this proposal to the international community. 1971.
International community being
Bretton Woods system, World Bank and IMF na UN hizo.
Okay.
Yeah. So the moment wali submit, that's why people like Walter Rodney started writing. Because this document was rejected. This document ilikuwa inaonyesha Africans to do business with the rest of the world according to African terms.
Okay.
We are going to industrialize. Sasa hapo hiyo document ya 1971 is what made, I told you, the world is thinking. So Africans should also continue thinking. The moment we stop, someone else will think for us. Naona Chino Achebe anasemanga, the image of Africa, the problem with Nigeria is not the Nigerians, it's how the system of something of that sort. Sijui the right quote venye iko, but something of that closeness. 1971 document, New International Economic Order, is not read by a lot of economists in Africa. Kwa nasema hivyo, last year nilienda economic summit ilikuwa Kenya UN, nilikuwa nimeenda kama speaker. Na economists, PhD students, masters, professors, lecturers walikuwa hapo. Nikauliza nani anajua hiyo document? No one knows about it. Because of what? The colonial library. So this 1971 document ndio ilifanya sasa the Bretton Woods system, akina IMF, akina World Bank go back to their methodologies and frameworks. Waende wa study waonyeshe how do we seduce these people, because they seduce us with beautiful lies in terms of policy. How do we make our African governments accept a structural adjustment program as a way of ensuring they are also developing for the betterment of their masses. But immediately akina Walter Rodney waka-counter wakisema this is how Europe is underdeveloping Africa. Kitabu yake iliandikwa 1980. Akina Ali Mazrui wakakuja na African conditionality and so many other books just to explain. Akina Thandika Mkandawiri wakakuja in the 1990s. Akina even Malidoma Patrice from Burkina Faso wakakuja. So many people, akina Achille Mbembe, so many people came. Hata Ngugi wa Thiong'o kuna kitabu ameandika Decolonizing Marxism na pia ameongelea hivyo, na pia kuna kitabu zenye ameandika na other African writers about neocolonialism, still akiback up decolonizing the mind, because everything is in the mind. Asubuhi kiamka ndio decide I want to shower, I want to go to work, lazima you think. So is everything, even economy, there are people who are thinking for us. And Africans tumechukua humility. Na pia hiyo period ndio watu waliuliwa. Thomas Sankara aliuliwa 85, yeah, there. And so many other people, watu waliuliwa. And even before that, watu wa OAU, the real founders, wengi walikufa kina Tomboya, na kama kukufa ulitolewa through a coup. And so many people died. Ni watu wengi walikufa, more than 22 presidents were killed during that period.
Wow.
We are in the French speaking area na English
this
speaking.
is in this book ama your next book?
Yes, it's here. It's actually, I have even given the martyrs of kwa the bibliography, nimepeana the martyrs of this work. Kuna kina Thomas Sankara 87, C 1985, Patrice Lumumba, kuna Steve Biko 77, kuna Sylvanus Olympia 63, kuna Samora Machel 86. Unaona hizo zote ni hiyo period almost same. Mutala Muhammad of Nigeria 76, kuna wa Congo Brazzaville Marien Gumbi 77, kuna wa Ethiopia Teferi Banti 77, kuna huyu Sadat 81, kuna wa Comoros 89, kuna wa Algeria 92, kuna wa Niger Ibrahim Bare 1999, kuna Gaddafi 2001. Bado kuna wengi. The more naendelea kufanya research, the more na realize hawa watu ni wengi. Kuna Walter Rodney, kuna Amel Cabral, kuna ni wengi sana.
Wow.
Yeah.
Umetaja Tomboya hapa, nilikuwa nimesikia umetaja Tomboya. No, hapo wenye umewasema wenye waliuliwa, umesema Tomboya. But that was earlier, 1969.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because kumbuka EOAU, hii conversation ni kama saizi venye watu wameanza. Si Gen Zs walianza. Before Gen Zs kulikuwa na millennials. Akina Boni wakipeleka Nguruwe, parliament. Watu at first walikuwa kidogo, watu wakaendelea wakigrow. So revolution inaendelea kigrow.
Hata hii time nakumbuka history ya Gen Z. The first day ama like the first one, what's 18th? There was one Boni alifanya before that. Na alikuwa na watu wachache.
Yeah.
Then wakasema wanarudi 18th.
Yes.
Then 18th venye yeye alikuwa anakuja tu kivyake, then wase on Twitter wakashika hiyo kitu.
Yeah.
Wakatengeneza posters.
Yeah.
So by the time watokea they were surprised.
Watu waliona this is not struggle ya our nini pekee, watu wa activists pekee. Hii struggle ni ya kila Mkenya. Na sasa unaona hata tuko kadi. So revolution inaendelea ikigrow. Revolution never dies in the people ever. Haistopingi. Sometimes kama Patrick Lumumba PLO amekuwa kiongea about neocolonialism. Saizi watu wengi wanaongelea about neocolonialism. Even institutions in Africa wameanza kubelieve na accept neocolonialism. Unapata hata universities kama USIU imeniita tukuongea about the same thing. Strathmore, Chuka University and so many others. Watu wameanza kuongea hii conversation en masse. Na itafika mahali it will come and become a very very big thing. No, this is the right time kwa sababu everybody is speaking about it. So wakipata the right words, because capital violence ina invoke your spirit of seeing what you're facing as an Africa. Imepewa the right words ya kukuexplainia na umuonyeshwa patterns na kwenye imetoka.
Kuna kitu nilikuwa nataka kuuliza. Sahi kuko na this war yenye ina happen in Iran, between Iran and Israel and the US. So tunaona we saw we saw what happened in Venezuela. So the US invaded Venezuela. We see what they are trying to do in Iran. We see what they are doing in Cuba. And after Iran, probably they go and do Cuba, Venezuela style. So ni kama tumefika ile place, the colonizers are no longer pretending to be liberal. So now juu watu wamekuwa wakisema ati colonization ilikuwa na advantages. Wanasema ati the governments we have now, it would be better hata ile time ya colonization, ati the country would be better, ati tungekuwa na barabara mzuri, tungekuwa na nini mzuri nini. So now that actually I speak to my grandfather and akajua kuna watu wana miss colonization, anaweza kasirika juu he lived through it. Na yeye ananiambianga the country has developed, ananiambia anaongea juu ya Thika Road, ananiambia venye hiyo barabara haukuwa barabara ya lami.
Yeah.
Aniambia all the things that had not been done. Aniambia venye Nairobi imegrow. In his time, in those days, the highest building was Koja.
Yeah.
Koja, alikuwa aniambia tulikuwa tunaenda kuona msikiti wa Koja. Sasa nashindwa hiyo ni msikiti gani? Hapa Koja.
Yeah.
That was the tallest building.
Yeah.
And it's not even tall.
It's not.
Like, I don't know if it was tall, but it was the building that they went to see. It was attractive. I think it was a big building. But now look at Nairobi. Yeah. Anyway, the question is, now that hizo vitu zina happen, is it possible that real colonization, wacha hii neocolonization, that real colonization with settlers, with them taking over your government, military occupation, that can come back?
There's always either sides. As they are also planning, because they are planning, we are also seeing the plan.
Yes, we are seeing, but the people in power ni wase wao.
But Gen Z wanafanya nini? Wanaongezeka.
Okay.
Saizi watu wako kadi. Watu kwa nini wako kadi? Because wataki kurudia huko. They want something different.
Okay.
Revolution never stops. Watu wanafikiria ngati revolution never stops because sometimes hata kama itakuja kuchukuliwa na country yote. During Kibaki kulikuwa na strikes mengi sana. Za teachers, like kulikuwa na hizo civil society, civil servants wali strike sana siku ya Kibaki until at least walimu wakaongezewa.
Nakumbuka kuna siku nikiwa standard 5, actually kwa time ya Kibaki ilikuwa time ya Moi 202. Hatukuenda shule for a whole month. Walimu walikuwa
strike
a whole month.
Yeah,
na ilikuwa that time.
Nakumbuka.
Yeah.
Na after hapo
tulikuwa tunabambika sana.
Na after hapo na alafu unajua hiyo time watu walikuwa wanajua Moi arudi.
Yeah.
Sio ndo time sasa Kibaki aliingia sasa later.
Yeah.
Watu walikuwa wanajua Moi arudi. Yeah. So civil servants walikuwa wameanza ku prepare the revolution of their economic survival. Mamangu alikuwa teacher. And sisi tulifurahi sana hiyo strike because at least after your strike tulikuwa able hata kuhama kutoka Hurush. But before that walimu walikuwa wanalipwa vibaya sana.
But to his credit, venye Kibaki aliingia aliongeza watu mshahara. I think like
3 watu wali strike during Kibaki. Mimi nakumbuka watu wali strike sana. Kibaki aliallow civil servants wa strike sana. Moi ungejaribu, Moi watu walikuwa wanajaribu, yes, but Moi alikuwa pia violent. Na saizi penye tuko the government watakataa, watakubali ama watasema nini, but ground is already hostile. Na saizi governments wanafaa kukaa waone ground is hostile. So, na watu saizi watakubali the same thing. Unakumbuka tu walisema Moi,
so nasema hiyo colonization hawa sio wakikuja na weapons zao nini watu watakataa.
Unajua colonization haiwezi fanyika hata kama invention umeleta vizuri invention ya Iran. First walianza kulipa watu Iran wa protest against the government. Si hizo documents zimeanza kutokea. Wakaona iwak. Juu bado majority walikuwa for the government. Wametry so many things, wakachukua media cause the reality ni Israel inataka control hiyo peninsula yote, hiyo area yote because it's also very rich in minerals. Na what colonization imekuwa ikifanya, na hii ni kitu yenye human beings wanafanya sana. Ni kama sisi wa Afrika, pia sisi wa Afrika sisi tuna colonize wa Afrika wenzetu using politics. Ikitusaidia sisi tupate wenye kwa politics ndio kuna dignity, au ndio tutaona wakinunua gari za 1 million 100 million or something, while watu wengine wanaishi kwa survival mode. Kila saa mtoko kwa hiyo survival mode. So colonization, yes, colonization never ended. Ni ilijirebrand. So anytime inajirebrand, hapo ndio creatives wanakujanga. Unakumbuka Toni Morrison kuna siku alisema this is the time, Tony ama nimesahau ama this is the time of the creatives to come together and reimagine the society, because a society has to be reimagined. Kwa nini Gen Z movement ilikuwa inaongea about IMF na World Bank na 1980 hizo siku kitambo watu wanaongelea level sana because the impact was not, your policy imekuja ku affect sana millennials. The millennials venye tumesema ndio the struggling generation. Na sasa Gen Z, because they don't want to be subjected to that, wanna join. Sisi ni wa millennial na sisi tulijoin hizo protesting wherever part of the world tulikuwa na kujoin protest hata kama ujaenda kama umecontribute. Like for me, capital violence is me protesting against the entire system using the knowledge that I was given through school and also self-educating myself. And knowledge imekuwa kichange. Russia ilimaliza the Tsar Empire because Lenin and his people back then, they produced a knowledge of helping people reimagine. Akina nitangwani huyu wa Rasputin. The same knowledge is always used to shape how people imagine. Hata in the 1919s akina Anyang' Nyong'o wakiwa na Ali Mazrui, they produced a lot of knowledge. Naona constitution ikachangiwa 2010. So a society inafaa kukua kiendanga evolve. Ukiona kitu ni mbaya, the people, the thinkers, the philosophers, the even fiction writers, anybody who can create something, they come together and they start speaking in unison. Sasa ukiangalia creatives all over the continent, people have started speaking in unison. People have started even going back to culture. Sasa unaenda tu cultural event moja unaweka hivi kwa WhatsApp status ama kwa social media, watu wanakuambia next time ni invite, unaona? And the society, this is how life, nature rectifies itself. So zile the people on nini, nature inakatalafu from the African perspective, your African cosmology inaonyeshanga the ancestor rise through us. Kama mimi, everybody that I've cited who is no longer living, I call them my ancestor because it is their books that nimetumia who build an analysis of the current situation you're facing as Africans. Yeah.
Okay. So who enforces the colonial library?
Gatekeepers, the black whites. Iko pia kitabu ya Odinga. Allow me to read something, please, kindly. Iko kwa the last page. So hivi ndio alisema, kwanza nianza hapa akisema, we have frequent examples of our continued dependence on external forces and the inability or unwillingness of Kenyan government to assert our independence. The power of outside pressures and aid constantly influence our foreign policy. The most tragic example in Kenya, neo appeasement of Britain on the Rhodesian crisis. Naona tunasemanga sisi Kenyans, we are not Pan-Africanist. Sisi tume allow the settlers to colonize our mind. Alafu he goes ahead and says, Kenya's stock has therefore fallen in Africa. It will even follow lower if these policies and this dependence on external forces are not reversed. In Kenya, the struggle before us will be stern and exacting. We are struggling to prevent Kenyans in black skins with vested interest from ruling as successors to the administrator of colonial days. So, sisi system yetu kwanza ya Kenya ni kabisa, sisi we are very captured. Yeah. Kenyans, we even think in isolation, we do our things, tunapenda to the Western way of doing things. Yeah. Because also we are benefiting. So nona tuko na UN hapa. So tumekewa carrot stick.
Is that benefiting?
Sasa nasema, sasa sisi kwa kichwa yetu, colonial library. Mimi nikigrow up, kwa nini nasema tunaona colonial library? Mimi nilikuwa nataka kuwa
kwa tuishi huko.
Nilikuwa nataka kuwa UN ati UN ama World Bank ama IMF. Hata kusema tu kweli, hata nikienda Cambridge. Nilikuwa naenda Cambridge nikijambia sasa maybe nitaenda ku bring change nikiingia kwa World Bank ama IMF, at least my CV will be strong. I was chasing CV until I was like, what is going on here? this is how I've been constructed, and this is the illusion, because at that particular moment I saw the illusion, I saw the extractive economy and how it operates, and what continues to reproduce and sustain it. Nikaona we are venye Ngugi wa Thiong'o alisema, decolonize our mind, and the moment unaendelea ku deconstruct colonial library, the more unakuwa aware of okay, saizi unaona the rise of African spirituality among youngest people, because venye Bob Marley alisema kwa creative world yake, there's a mystic air that will flow. A mystic air flew hiyo time yao, no wonder kulikuwa na hiyo movement ya Rastafari movement, na kukakuwa na pia movement ya kina Kasgavi. Hizi movement hazikuwa in isolation, hata kina Black Panther. So mbona saizi kumetokea Black Panther wengine wenye wana counter ice. The revolution spirit in people never die. It's just that sometimes people let your system ionyeshe if it
na
can
pia
work.
kuna oppressor spirit inakujanga at the same time basi.
See, vitu it's kuna inetangwaje polarity. Yeah, the bad, the good, the yin, the yang.
Since the last decade, nimekuwa nikiobserve, I think nilianza kuobserve around 2016, the rise of fascism. And I knew the rise of fascism, it lead to the threat of colonization. So now nimekuwa nikiona, you see what is happening, eyes, what has been happening, like easy invasions zote, people are surprised, but me I was not surprised.
Yeah, even me.
Nilikuwa nimejua this is a fascist regime. So what I didn't know is fascism also iko kule Israel.
Yeah, kwanza ilikuwa colonial library.
Yeah.
How was Israel formed? 1948. But hiyo itaekwa kwa colonial library. Colonial library dictates what you know and shapes a world of it.
You know like tulikuwa tumefunzwa ni kulikuwa na Holocaust, watu walikuwa wanauliwa nini. So there is a lot of goodwill for that country, also now adding to story of Christianity. So there's a lot of goodwill, and this war, actually the war in Gaza, for the last whatever,
ilianza kuexpose,
imeexpose hiyo nchi sana to the point that even Christians now are like, it's not cool. And then saizi pia social media toa maneno mengi. Saizi tumeanza ku deconstruct how we perceived Idi Amin. Colonial library. Kuna hii book ya Mahmoud Mamdani, Slow Poison. I read that book, and I actually started, it's a dangerous book because it will make you rethink what you think about Idi Amin. It's not just about Idi Amin, it's also about Museveni. But first it talks about Idi Amin, then it talks about Museveni. So it actually makes you rethink who is actually terrible. Who is actually worse? Who actually had the popular mandate? Because you would think, Idi Amin was a dictator, he came in through a coup. Museveni is a good guy because he came in through, he was saving Kampala, he was saving Uganda from a despotic regime. But then he was captured very early by the IMF na hizo.
Sasa tutoke hapo kwa kina Museveni. 2026 April 9th, Burkina Faso, Kenya. If we don't write about this history and document it well, and ensure that this knowledge is preserved for our people, not iende huko kutembea, ikae huko, those people will say, depending on the library they use. Wakiekwa kwa colonial library, wataonyeshwa development in Kenya was happening, na huku kwingine tutaonyeshwa hiyo side ya au military attacks, alafu tutaonyeshwa Burkina Faso. But watu wa saizi, study ilifanywa na Afrobarometer, the African youth. More than 54 or 58% of African youth are willing to have a military leader.
54%.
Yeah, between 54 to 58.
What?
Katikati hizo mbele nimesema. A military leader across all African countries in sub-Saharan region. Why? Si saizi watu wanajionea.
You know hata hii time ya Gen Z, people in Kenya, that's what they were waiting for. The youth.
Yeah. So alikuwa anasema kwa
on
TikTok.
Twitter.
Kila mahali TikTok.
I was on Twitter.
Kila mahali
on X.
ilikuwa hivyo.
Yeah. That tells you how much democracy has failed in Africa.
Kabisa. See, it's a trap. Democracy was never meant to be ours. It's the same way tuliongea story ya Marshall Plan, hiyo development plan. Hizo countries zilikuwa zinaflatianiana. Saizi angalia development, walipewa Marshall ikawaka. Kwa nini yetu haiworking? Hii aid yetu. It's a tyranny.
You know, tukiongea story ya IMF, there's something unpopular that I realized that nitaisema sasa on air. But it's unpopular. Like the fact that the story kupata the structural adjustment programs ndio tuingie neoliberalism. Neoliberalism iliforsiwa on us through the structural adjustment programs. Neoliberalism is opening up the markets, privatizing, all that.
Ilikuwa part of the points.
Yes. The forcing of us to become neoliberal coincided with the forcing of us to accept multi-party democracy. This is something very unpopular to say because this multi-party democracy has been branded as the second liberation. So it is supposed to mean that this was revolutionary kama ile ya kina Maumau, ile ya kina Awase, Jaramogi, that first whatever. Yet this second one was actually a lot of these people kuna funding.
Kuna funding.
And when it comes in a lead to the country being easier to control because you can always control. If you don't like the leader, you go to opposition. Fund the opposition. Which is what has been happening
in so many African countries. Because as I keep on telling Africans, colonization never ended. It keeps on rebranding. Sasa hizi, it's in policies, it's in governance, it's in our imagination, even how we imagine what to do. Unaona nitaongea Nicocadi is a very good initiative. Even multi-partyism is a good initiative in a different kind of system. CE, extractive, violent, capital system.
So long as we are not actually the ones benefiting.
Yes.
The people who control the system, they wanna
benefit.
You know, even umesema, you said it controlling the mind. Imenikumbusha how Hollywood, you know, people don't know these things, like how Hollywood came to control the world. Do you know how it came to be that Hollywood is all over? Hollywood is all, like, before World War II, American movies were watched in America. Maybe it's in a travel, but still it was regional. Same way India is, you know. What changed was World War II. In World War II, America invaded a number of countries. And occupied them. It occupied France because France ilikuwa occupied by Hitler, by Germany. So America came to save France. So they occupied France, they occupied Italy, they occupied West Germany when they defeated Hitler. East Germany went to the USSR, to Russia. And then they also occupied Japan after wali drop ile bomb, right? So occupation means wakona soldiers huko ndani. And then they came up with the Marshall Plan. So the Marshall Plan was supposed to help these countries reconstruct their economies. And then as part of that plan that they were doing, in these countries which walikuwa wameoccupy, ndio waitikie kuwapatia funding, pia kulikuwa na conditionality.
Yeah, conditions.
So the condition in this case si kama hizi zetu. Condition hiyo haiko si kama hizi zetu ni za kutubomoa. Yeah, like they wanted kujenga hizo nchi, but condition was cultural. So they wanted those countries they accept a certain influx of Hollywood movies. So what happened was France was flooded with Hollywood. Japan, Italy, now West Germany. So you find that the next generation of French filmmakers, when you were litokea in the 1960s, they had grown up watching Hollywood movies, and they rebelled against French tradition of cinema. And they were called the French New Wave, and they are celebrated. They are celebrated. If you study film, these are supposed to be one of, like, they were so innovative, everything. So all that comes like it. You see, from there, Hollywood now went to, it captured more countries. More countries. So inafika saa kama huku, probably I would not be surprised to learn that Hollywood imeshika Kenya maybe juu ya hizo IMF pia. I would not be surprised.
You know, when you are privatizing, and that's why unaangalia lafu, how do you want this society to see themselves? Conditions za kina Britain, hata kama walikuwa na accept the western way, like you, the American way, hawa watu wa America bado walitoka tu Europe tu. So accepting na kukua condition kwa hiyo reality ilifanya pia Europe ikakuwa very capitalistic. Alafu uzuri capitalism yao I extract from people sana, but pia I extract from other small European countries kama kina Montenegro.
Unless unaongea about Europe after World War II.
Yes, naongea about after World War II. How that society,
the Europe before that was a bit.
nasema hiyo society yenye ilikuja kucreatiwa na hii American influence. Hii ya Hollywood and all these
was America trying to tame these countries as well?
Remember the people who went to America pia walitoka Europe.
From Germany,
walitoka to different European countries.
The original.
The original, the people who went, the settlers, when walienda huko.
Sindio nasema,
the original settlers.
The original settlers. Unajua kuna wengine walienda
later,
akina Einstein time ya World War II.
Au ni later. Au wote walitoka huko. So it's the imagination, cause societies are created through imagination of people. Now few people can decide this is how we want the world to imagine, and few people will decide even the banking system will be like this, and we will be doing this, and then these few people, they use violence, but they also use their people so that they can have the public, because public relation is very, very important. US did that, but Iran has done something very incredible during war yao yenye says wako ceasefire. Iran imetumia social media with their Legos. I don't know if you've been following hizo series.
I saw,
to shape and show people these imperialists. Kuna yenye walifanya when they had the African Americans, Malcolm X alikuwa, the Aboriginals from America walikuwa, and so many other, even the Epistemic kids walikuwa. So Iran has started winning. Ukisoma hata TikTok, Twitter, all social media, people are now saying we stand with Iran. Because Iran has mastered the art of deception. That communication, because anybody can master that.
The art of propaganda.
The art of propaganda, the art of using communication to favor you and frame the narrative the way you want, and using all the tools that you have to counter, because sometimes states behave very irrational. But now Iran is becoming, si point zao hata ndo zimechukuliwa mengi. Iran itashape how the world starts operating kwa Strait of Hormuz during 2 weeks. It's either they decide we will continuously say people are gonna pay ama wakawa to the Western, na pia Western world siti imeka chini. Deep thinkers, because I love what the Western world does. They have incredible thinkers. Mtu yote mwenye anaweza think, even if it's in a very violent way. Si hivyo wanaenda wana occupy other countries na wanaenda kubomb. The thinkers wana support, wanasema do this. And most of the Western thinkers, they have the economic, extractive model way of thinking. So anywhere they go, they do occupation. Iran war, it's not about ati wanataka kusaidia watu. They want to kuchukua your oil. Trump is the best thing that has happened to the world. Mimi, I supported him, by the way. I remember I was at Cambridge and people used to ask me, Wavinya, whom do you support? I was like, I want Trump to win. If Trump's win, because we know his logic, his rationale, how he thinks, and what he can do, and his ego can be beneficial to the society, because the society will see
as a useful idiot.
Yes, they will see the face of imperialism, because Trump 101 never hid. So you Trump 2 ameitoa kabisa na si tuliona juzo ameenda kuchukua Maduro kutoka Venezuela. People were shocked, but are people speaking about that? No. Venezuela was not able to counter or gain the public perspective. Iran came with Lego. Imecapture mindset na nani ndo anachezanga na Lego. A lot of millennials in the US played with Lego. A lot of Gen Zs. Like Lego is a toy watu wengi. So you use it. What are you doing? You are creating the perception and communicating with these people in a language that they understand. Hizo messages za Iran, they are mostly geared towards the West, because they know the way their system is designed. They will rebel. Si tuliona walienda strike in so many states, saying this and this and this. So Iran imetumia Lego as a way of freeing their narrative. Then, why is Africa not using whichever means of communication, hata kama itabidi ni drums, kama sisi ni rhythmic people, tucheze ngoma like Nyashinsky. Huyo tunafaa kumsalute kabisa. Uliona hii show yake alikuwa nayo weekend?
Ameshaifanya.
Alishaifanya, alafu akaona all the people who lost their lives during the Gen Z protest 2025, 2024. So that is creativity.
Amefanya issue yake time ya hii fight ya kina Majembe.
I think ilikuwa weekend, siku ilikuwa Sunday. Ilikuwa Sunday, lakini niliona sasa hizo ma reels venye zilianza kutoka kwa social media. And I was like, this is good use of creativity. You consciously remind people what these people did not lose their lives evil. So you need to free the narrative. And the more, at whatever we are having right now, we are freeing this narrative of the legacy of capital violence and what Africans can do. And the first thing, as one of our best professors, Mr. Romogo, said, you name the toxins so that the society can see. And then now, once the society starts seeing these toxins, a lot of people will become very creative and reimagine a different way of doing things so that we can counter and move to the next consciousness.
So kitu unaweza kuuliza ni you give us like a brief story about yourself, venye umefika to have these thoughts, going to Cambridge and everything. Like, was there before where ulikuwa not knowledgeable, ulikuwa not revolutionary? Is there before, and then is there a something that happened, then your brain shift?
I think because I was a child who was reading, na pia niliintroduciwa kwa news nikiwa mdogo, hizo geopolitical news, nilikuwa na maswali mengi niki grow up. But sikukuwa na ile knowledge ya kuunderstand mbona hiki kitu inafanyika. So nilikuwa na grow unaona ile una grow unajiuliza, mbona watu wa black wanaishi hivi? Mbona kuna ghetto? Mbona tunalala njaa? So kulikuwa na hizo questions. Na hiyo hata kwa my book Capital Violence, kwa author's note nimenarrate. Hiyo kuguruhurush, alafu lack, zilikuwa like, mimi nasemanga ni kama nilikuwa na research through my living experience, because I was always very very curious. Na connect na dunia wiki hii, na connect na books nasoma. I remember there's a time nikiwa primary before ni meet na hiyo kitabu ya Maria Maba, So Long a Letter, nilikuwa nashindwa hakuna vitabu za Afrika cause kitambo watu hata I think sijui kama hizi siku kuna kuanga hivyo, but kitambo tukiwa primary school ukikuwa top student ulikuwa unapewa certificate na voucher ya kwenda Savanis bookshop. So mimi every time juu nilikuwa nakuwa number 1 nilikuwa naenda Savanis bookshop, but kutoka class 5 things zika change because unaona sasa hizo unaanza ku understand by the you are poor, you don't have strips, kuenda ni bahati nasibu and so many other things because madhisa hizo siko na watoto 4. So life inaendelea ukiuliza 2 questions. The more naendelea kusoma curiosity yangu ikagrow na nikajambia mimi nikiwa tu primary school mimi I want to write a book, but nilikuwa najua nafaa kuandika fiction. But when nilisoma kitabu ya So Long a Letter ya Maria Maba, nikashanga what is going on here. Sikumbukangi vizuri exactly ni nini nilisoma, but after encountering Maria Maba life yangu ili change sana. And then hizi akina John Kiriamiti na Gifted Hand, Benson alikuwa anaitwa Benson nani? Ben Carson yeah. Hizo vitabu mingi sasa, kwanza Ben Carson hiyo Gifted Hand ilionyesha if you gifted in something you can live a good life. So mimi nikaanza kujiambia for me to become better I need to continue reading because I think I love having books. And then teenager nikaintroduce kwa kina Chimamanda Ngozi and so many others. Kuna huyu ameandika Ghana Must Go. Aya nikafika 20s nikakuwa nikijoin hizo gigs za kwani naangalia, but nika realize fiction is not calling me. Nikajambia tu I know I will find my voice. Nakumbuka tukiambiwa na Ngugi wa Thiong'o pale Power 254. Penye tu alikuwa anaenda spoken word and all that. Nakumbuka Ngugi wa Thiong'o akikuja kusema you must discover your voice so that you can be free in writing. So these questions about our economy, about even me not going to university at the right time, jo kukua na do na kama uja because with time niliacha kukua a very brilliant student, nikaanza tu kukua average because unajua poverty, alafu hizi questions za life zinakuja sana. Then nikamaliza high school, sikuenda university. For all my 20s nilikuwa nafanya kazi kwa supermarket, from one supermarket hizi promotions za weekend. But bado desire kwenda shule ilikuwa inanikujia sana because ukiangalia watu wameenda university ulikuwa na at least the quality of their life is better, au watakuja kufanya promotions. Back then hizi siku nasikia watu wa university wanafanya but back then watu wa university walikuwa wanafanyanga promotion. Ni sisi watu wa kumaliza form 4. And I said I want to do that. Nikaanza sasa work permanently kwa supermarket, like I think for 7 months. Unapata watu wanakuja kwa supermarket kubuy lunch, una feel nyo alisema kweli English na kusoma itakusaidia kupata makazi mzuri. Bado kumbuka niko na ile mindset ya UN. So hata nikienda kufanya international relations and diplomacy hapo UN, nilikuwa naenda kufanya ndio nikuwe diplomat. Na kumbuka hata nikijitanga ambassador Wavinya Makai, ambassador Wavinya, sikuwa natumianga Makai back then. Then the more unaendelea ukipanuka tu unasema this is just something that is not working out. Unakuja unapata watu wale graduate wanasema hawana job. So by the time nilikuwa na graduate 2022 ndo niligraduate by the way with my degree at the University of Nairobi. That's and that's the same time bado ndo nilifanya application yangu kwenda Cambridge. Niliona kwa LinkedIn nikaona wako na scholarship na niko na first class. Si ni try, I will not lose anything by trying. So nika study because for me before I apply something I need to study. Me I don't apply for things kama sina interest because when the more you continue discovering who you are, you start learning that you have to be very specific with your desires. So nikaenda Cambridge nikajambia I know I need to go and become a revolutionary, but I need to join the system so that I can work in that system. And for this system to acknowledge me as an African, na pia mtu mwenye nimesoma late, lazima niende nikachukue na degree ya Cambridge. So na bado hiyo colonial library na kuonyesha lazima, but I'm glad that I did that. And while there, hiyo kufundishwa capitalism day 1 in class, Capitalism is an ideology that develops one part of the world while it underdevelops the other. That's how I've started my book in author's notes. I went back to my childhood memory. Nikajiuliza, hizo siku zote tulikuwa tunalala njaa. Unatoka shule unapata kukunywa. Naona mimi nakunywa maji sana. Umerealize nakunywa maji sana? Tulikuwa tumezoea kukunywa maji ndio to stay hydrated. Kuna siku mtu ulikuwa unajipata mjakula na mkikula poa, maybe umekula supu ya nyanya na ugali. Ama mala yenye imeongezwa maji na ugali. Hiyo ni life ya the city kama unaishi place kama Huruma back in the days. Na remember my mom alikuwa employed. So watu wenye kuanga na employment wenye walikuwa nishi kwa informal sector. Kwa informal settlement ndo wana get the economic nini. Karibu kila homestead ilikuwa na kitabu ya deni. So Cambridge ikanifanya nikarealize alafu nikakumbuka wale scholars. Ngugi wa Thiong'o kwanza ndo nilimkumbuka sana, Decolonize the Mind. Nikachukua kitabu yake nikasoma. Nikakumbuka kuna huyo Walter Rodney, How Europe Underdeveloped. Nikakuwa na hiyo consciousness ya kusoma what did Africans say. Na nilisoma. Ikafika hata mahali nikajipata sasa hata I'm not even interested in pursuing hii illusion. Nilikuwa nataka ya kukuwa na PhD, ya kukuwa nini, like nikarealize this illusion that I was chasing was very individualistic in nature. So ndo nitoke block. Nikasema na watu wengine nikitoka, okay, yes utatoka block. But hebu imagine nimetoka block na marafiki wako wote. Ama the people you know, ama everybody. Ndo sasa hizo nikakumbuka nikiwa teenage girl, nilikuwa napenda Che Guevara, hata nilikuwa na t-shirt ya yellow iko na picha ya Che Guevara. Nilikuwa nampenda sana. Nikarealize pia with time, with what neuroscientists are speaking about and the power of our ancestors' African cosmology, there's some things that captures your attention because you might really do them well if you pay attention. Akina neno kisema mtoto amekuja na sahani yake, wasemi ati mtoto amekuja mamake ampe, mtoto amekuja na sahani yake, amekuja na kipawa chake. But sisi tutachukua it's the parents amekuja na sahani. But parents wanafaa kutengeneza sahani zao so that by the time they are bringing other people, they are able also to come and actualize. But sisi wengi tunazaliwa kwa survival mode. Na hii survival mode
umekuja na sahani umpakulie.
Yes.
Mbona hatukuelewa hivyo?
Colonial library.
No, tulielewa that amekuja na sahani like God atakubless.
Wapi?
That's what people understand.
Yeah. But not watu ngapi angalia unajua tunasema kwa hiyo world ya
yani basically anasema every mtoto ni burden anakuja na sahani. Lazima
utanini. But in reality conscious society is as a people we need to stabilize ourselves so that we can bring other people wenye pia watakuja kwa stability ndio waweze kuexpand their whatever they are supposed to do. That hiyo sahani yake mtoto anakuja na sahani yake. But kama mama na baba wa kutengeneza sahani inamaanisha sisi wote tuko kwa survival mode. And ndio unaona as a society it's very hard for us to get out of kutoka kwa hizi blocks. As a society tuko na uoga mingi sana. Warrior spirit yetu inachoka because kukikuwa na sisi wote tukirebel hata to decide we are not going to go to the streets to rebel, tukae kwa nyumba, watu wengi watakosa food. Unaona? Kwa sababu tuko kwa society ya hand to mouth. But inafikanga wakati even hand to mouth is not sustainable. Sasa ni watu wangapi kwa TikTok ama hata kwa in all social media spaces unaona wakiandika their story, but TikTok is famous for that. Watu wanatoa video, unaona mtu anasema I started this business nini nikasumbulika. Watu wanaenda one step vile tulikuwa tunasema, alafu unajipata two steps behind, cause this extractive violent economic system imetu train even our imagination iko kwa block. Ukiona hata sasa leo tunafanya trade, watu wako na people in Kenya have very nice products, but ukiuliza how do you see yourself in the next 5 years watakuonyesha they only want to get a couple other customers in the country. Na huko nje watu wanafundishwa globe. Mimi Cambridge ilipatia the global face, but I decided to choose the African face. Napatana na publishers wengi wananiambia we can help sell your book uko majuu. That does not interest me sana, because this knowledge is meant for us. Ndio tuanze kusapotiana kama tunaona mtu ametoa product. Kwani atika kwenda kununua sijui design gani ya huko na mtu it's the same product. Mbona tusifanye biashara pamoja? Fear, humility inaletanga vitu zinaitwa envy na jealous, depending on spectrum gani mtu wako. Na hizo envy na jealous na hizo dimensions zake zinafanya watu wasi supportiane, because watu wanaona huyu akitoka kwa block sisi tutabaki. Bela mtu aone huyu akitoka maybe anaweza tu inspire. Because for me when I look at my life, nasemanga dreams from my father Obama ilinisaidia sana. I remember 2007 when alikuwa president, nilikuwa kwa supermarket huko Karen. Nilikuwa na push sales za bagels. Kitu tasidi kuonja paka wa leo. Because ilikuwa expensive sana. Siwezi afford back then. I think ilikuwa 200. Back then kwa afford 200 ilikuwa expensive because it was 2000 and
bagel moja ilikuwa 200.
200 and something, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sini huko Karen mini market huko. Hizo kwa suburbs, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mimi nimetoka Hurush. Hiyo na nalipwa maybe 250 ama 300 per day. So utaweza fanya nini? But Obama venye aliingia kwa hiyo kiti akasema yes, I can. Nakumbuka nikimuona hiyo siku ilikuwa 2008 sasa akiwa inaugurated. Bado nilikuwa hiyo Karen mini market nafanya hizo promotions. Nikasema kama alipitia hizo vitu zote, alisema, and then he decided to go back to Harvard. Mbona mimi nisiende Cambridge? Because Cambridge has always been my dream school. Jo ile Cambridge dictionary. Si colonial library. Colonial library. And at that particular moment, a desire was nurtured in me. And then nikaanza kusoma vitabu kama Think and Grow Rich with Napoleon Hill, The Power of Subconscious Mind. And I started going within. I don't have anything to lose. Siniko nenda within na bado naendelea kutafuta hizi promotions za 500, 200 ni survive. Remember, I have a child. Nilipata mtoto wangu 2007. So there's so much happening, and still I have a dream. And still I remember I used to be a brilliant student. Niko na certificates mbili nikiwa class 1 na class 4 as the top student in Nairobi division. Nikajambia, and I have to rekindle my inner child. So mpaka waleo mimi naambianga watu, don't ever lose your inner child, because the moment you lose it, the moment you start saying things cannot be done. I've been having a conversation with a lot of people from all over the world, from Trinidad and Tobago, from Guanapola, Guyana, African Americans, people from different parts of the world. Na wananiambia, Wavinya, because the more people are reading Capital Violence, the more people are understanding what capitalism is doing, not only to Africa but to all, majority of the global South countries. Things that China tried telling Africa before they decided, hawa wasiki wachapia sisi tuwe the imperial court. But they tried telling us, but sasa hizo mwana, hawa tusipofanya someone else is doing. So everybody is coming to Africa to take the raw materials. Ukiangalia all this, una realize nime lose track yangu, nilikuwa na answer what?
Ulikuwa na story yako?
Oh yeah. So yes, nikasoma hizo Think and Grow Rich, subconscious, na nikaanza ku work within. So venye nilianza ku work within myself, na nikaanza kujiambia, actually I can make it. Actually I can go to Cambridge. But for me to go to Cambridge, because my age is advancing, I need to think something different. So in 2007, niko 21 years.
You are thinking your age is advancing ukiwa 21 years?
Because nilikuwa najua ile siku nitaenda shuleni siku gani pesa iko.
Oh yeah.
So nilikuwa naangalia by the time hii pesa ipatikane itakuwa when, because reality on the ground so hakukuwa na pesa hiyo time. But I never lost myself.
Wow.
And I continued reading. Sasa nikaanza kwanza niliread Eastern thought sana. Nikasoma akina Putin. There was a time Facebook watu walikuwa wananijua kama girlfriend ya Putin.
Putin alikuwa anaandika vitabu?
Putin si kuna kitabu si yake sasa history ya watu wenye wameandika biography za Putin. Alafu nilikuwa na follow policies zake. Alafu nilikuwa nimeanza ku understand America is giving an illusion. What it's saying and what it's doing.
Ni time ya Obama by then.
Ni time ya Obama. By then my world view kaanza ku change.
So ukaanza kuona Obama si mzuri venye ulifikiria?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nikaona si mzuri venye nimefikiria. So mimi nikaanza kwenda kwa Putin. Na nikaingia kwa Putin kabisa, but people walikuwa wanaona kitu yangu ni kama si poa. Kwa nini nashinda nikiongelea Putin? And it used to bring crazy debates. Hapo ndo nilijiona na a lot of creatives in Kenya. Nikaingia kwa hiyo space.
Walikuwa wafikiria wewe ni Marxist?
Watu walikuwa anajua kwa mimi kwa najita Marxist, lakini sikukuwa nimesoma hata Karl Marx. Apart from your quote religion is the opium of the masses.
But ulikuwa unajua hiyo policy.
Hizo
on private property hizo.
Yes. Kidogo tu. And then nikaanza kusoma The Looting Machine. Nikaanza kusoma non-Africans who've written about Africa. Nikasoma The State of Africa. Meredith Anito Martin, something of that sort. The state, it's a very big book. Yeah. Nikasoma the Scramble and Petition of Africa. All of these were written by white people from different regions. Nikajambia, but why is an African not writing these books? Na nilizinunua mingi sana. Juu saizo bado ndo sasa nikajipata nimeenda UN later.
Ulikuwa unajenga colonial library?
Nilikuwa najenga colonial library lakini hii colonial library pia inanifanya nakuwa na maswali mengi sana. Kama hizi vitu zimekuwa zikifanyika, mbona kwa nini watu wajui? Kwa nini mbona watu wajui? Mbona tunaishi hivi? Niendelea nikijenga. So nika develop my Eastern thoughts, Western thoughts ilianza kutoka primary. Sasa venye nilikuwa sasa namaliza UN, nikaanza nikiingia online. Sasa unajua social media ilikuja ikakuwa sana during kwanza COVID. Mtu unajipata una kazi ya kufanya, una spend sana, alafu kuna narratives unaona kwa media tukubalishwi kutengeneza madawa. Unasikia conspiracy theories, sijui president wa Burundi, sijui president wa Tanzania and so many others. Unasikia tu story zenye as it make sense. So mimi nikakuwa curious kabisa. Ndio hapo nikaanza kujiuliza, alafu ikafika 2022 AI inakuja. Unajua sasa ulishajiposition kwa geopolitics. Juu mimi nilikuanga kwa hiyo geopolitics space ever since I think nilikuwa 6 years. Juu ya dunia wiki hii. So unaendelea ukiadvance, unaendelea ukijua different things. Hapo ndo nika realize intellectual property does not favor us. Na hiyo time bado ndo niko UN nasoma international relations and diplomacy. Kila kitu ni west. Sasa zile tukafomata paka forum for diplomacy. Tukitaka kwenda mahali tunaitwa kwa embassies. Hakuna tujaenda embassy ya Mwafrika. Zote zilikuwa Turkey, US, British, like you know. And then mimi ni mtu mwenye nikijitolea kwa kitu najitolea kabisa paka nikakuja nikakuwa president wa hiyo forum. So unakuwa invited to these embassies, but una realize no, there's something. And then kwa class nachukua what is a theory, naanza kustudy because me I love going deeper into something. Naanza kustudy na nasema Ali Mazrui pia he really informed me. Venye alikuwa naletangwa kwa media kitambo, sasa zingine alikuwa anatoka kwa TV. Once I've been a TV person and a reader at the same time. Mimi nimekuwa nikishi both worlds. Yeah. Nakumbuka pia Ali Mazrui akiongea. Saizi
unaona series?
Siwezi, hata siwezi kaona series ya wazungu zilishanishinda nilikataa. Saizi chenye naona sana na try to understand African cosmology. Yes, na pia naona sana podcasts za Africans. Naangalia how can we make a podcast like what we in Kenya in narration inaweza fikaje the entire continent? Kwa sisi wote tuko kwa economic war, sisi wote tuko kwa psychological war, sisi wote tuko kwa sovereignty war, sisi wote tuko kwa spiritual war. It's the same beast inatu attack juu wamechukua unakumbuka Binyavanga akisema one day I will write about this place because everybody else anachukua Africa naona it's just mono, and then they make policies, kila kitu tukifanywa it's the same. Yet hata European Union inapatianga countries kama France nini yao, kila country iko na some autonomy, but sisi yote tunakuwa hivi wanatoka wanatuonyesha we behave the same, we are inferior, we don't have thinkers, we are in our infancy stage. When will we grow up? But sisi hatuwezi ona because of that library, the colonial library.
Ulikuwa unaendelea? Au umemaliza story yako?
So watu wakaanza kuni influence, and then venye nilifika Cambridge nikajua actually I was very excited kwenda Cambridge. Nilikuwa najua tunaenda ku solve world problems. Nitapatana na other Africans like me, tunaenda ku solve world problems. Alafu sasa nilikuwa nimeanza kusoma Neocolonialism, the last stage. Nilikuwa nimeshaanza ku understand Nkrumah anasema nini. So nilikuwa najua huko si watu wanaonanga wana meet from different African countries na tusema this is our problems turudi to solve. Nika realize people are not willing to come back, especially from West Africa. That thing shocked me because unajua sasa saizi uko kwa space na watu and you think everybody anafaa kurudi kwa sisi tuko na low knowledge tumekuja huku so knowledge inafaa kurudi kusaidia wa Afrika. Nika realize this is the biggest fallacy. So nikajiambia I need to write about capitalism. Na nilikuwa najiambia capitalism is very violent. Na nilikuwa nashindwa nitahitaji kitabu capitalism violence, nikaona it's not rhyming. The one day nikajiambia capital violence. And then nikaangalia nikasema dignity because everybody talks about GDP. GDP is a metric of misery. Itaonyesha Kenya is doing well according to IMF, World Bank. Reality kwa ground watu wanaishiaje?
Na mbona wanaitanga human development index? It sounds so mechanical.
Very
Si waita dignity index.
Kila kitu inaletwa ndo etymology. So do your philosophy of etymology inatumiwa kuonyesha we are doing something what a change from millennial development goals. So leo na realize millennial says ni millennium imeshafika. Kuko na nini inafanyika? Wana change sustainable.
Like ukitafuta funding lazima uandike sustainability somewhere.
Yes. Hata mimi nikiapply Cambridge nilikuwa nimeenda kusoma climate change and its sustainability. Nilifika huko the good thing is once you're there and they allow you to change your mind because they know this global archive might change you. Another good thing that really happened kwangu nikiwa Cambridge si class, the seminars and the people that I interacted with. Kulikuwa na hawa radical African scholars but hao si wajakuja kusoma wamekuja fail au ni failures au ni watu walishasoma colonial library wakajoin hizi ma world hizi ma multinational organizations and then they resigned wakarealize no this is a lie. Wengine wako kwa academia but unajua kwa academia hata mkikuwa radical na government iwasikii juu watu wa academia wanakuanga radical but very wako na humility.
Wako tamed.
Wako tamed. Alafu mtu hataki kukua out there.
Ni kama you know paka. It's a wild animal but compared to its cousins the lions the whatever
inakuwa tamed. So hiyo kitu nikakaa nikaangalia, alafu kila sana nilikuwa nauliza hao ma professors wa Cambridge you're giving us this information. This information has been there since 1980s, others 1970s. Then mbona kuje kuwa na kitu, mbona sisi tumezaliwa tukajipata kwa hii situation? Kwani society yetu haiwezi solve problem? Hapo ndo nikakuja sasa kushika what scholarly humility has done to the continent. And then
nikakwambiaje?
So kusema lazima wewe utajua vile utafanya na hiyo knowledge.
Nao ni wazungu ama
si kuna Morocco, kuna Egyptian. Yes, but ni Morocco, no, modern day Moroccan na Egyptian, yeah. Na pia kuna Brazilian, kuna different people. But our now wengine our radical African fellas. What I learned from them is
ni watu wa fellowships.
Wamekuja for 3 months, 6 months, wamekuja kuandika a very radical book yenye itakuwa published huko na ibaki huko. Yes, na wakitaka kwenda seminars wanaenda huko. So mimi nikajiambia
itabaki Cambridge.
Itabaki hizo areas. So many universities huko zinaitashanga wana sponsanga watu wa kuja fellowship wa advance.
So you publish a book ibaki Cambridge.
Itauzwa lakini itauzwa like $135 ama pounds kwa Amazon. Utatoa $135 hata mimi siwezi katoa. Siwezi katoa. So nika realize vitabu za Afrika
ni kama ile book ya Liki History of the Southern Kikuyu. I think ukinunua zote it's like 25k or more the last time I checked.
Exactly. Na vitabu mingi za African scholars, hizi radical African scholars zilikuwa pesa mingi kitambo. Hata Walter Rodney kitabu yake ilipotezwa for a very long time. But you know, you can never hide knowledge from people.
People will, the internet ziko free huko.
Yeah. Utajua watu walienda huko waka realize. But kuna vitabu zingine kama vitabu za Ali Mazrui. Kwanza hiyo African conditionality. Ukisoma utacha kwanza pombe. Mimi nilisoma nikaacha pombe. Ukisoma uta understand lived reality yetu kwa nini iko hivi, na uta understand hizi chains. Uta connect na kitabu yangu Giwa Thiongo. So chenye nimefanya kwa kitabu yangu nimechukua wa Africa wenye wamediagnose, wenye wameinterpret. Sasa nimeandika in a way I'm telling a story to Africans. So natumia we this is what our resources, our land, our like that's my style of writing. Because pia mimi as someone who's in the academia spaces nachokanga nikisoma hizi vitabu zenye ziko na every time unapata iko na hizo nini za academia jargons. Nasikianga nachokesha akili but lazima tusome. So we read and interpret. Tunasoma hata hizo nini za necropolitics, tuna understand vizuri venye iko, and then now we interpret and line it with the current reality on the ground. Because reality on the ground inafaa kuambatana na venye the writers, the intellectual community inafanya. Kama ziambatani unajua huyu ni colonial library. That's why uliambia kuna mtu unamuuliza ujui kitu kwa economy, anakuambia I'm not an economist yet amesomea, ako educated. Yes, hata Cambridge na Oxford wanatuambianga you are reading philosophy in this whatever. See, you're studying, we don't study, we read. Kama walisha understand hiyo, we need to see ourselves as explorers. Tumeenda, tumebenefit, hata pia watu wa fiction, mna benefit there. Alafu mna imagine using your lived reality. But sisi tumeacha the westerners watuandikie policies. That's why IMF na World Bank iko everywhere. Watupatie loans kila saa tunaambiwa this, alafu tunaambiwa austerity measures. Hizo austerity measures tunakuja tunarealize ni cancer. Zinaendelea zikiongezwa kwa economy. Na wanda tuko venye tuko. Yeah, sasa watu wanasafa kabisa.
So now tumalize hapo kwa Cambridge.
So nikiwa Cambridge nikakuwa na crisis, hata nimeandika kwa chapter 9. Nikakuwa na identity crisis like what next. Alafu nikasikia watu wanasema wameapply jobs 300 wajapata. Nikajambia you know what, acha pia mimi ni apply. But pia kwa roho yangu nilikuwa najambia hii kazi nyingine ya ku invoke the warrior spirit of Africa ni kazi mingi. Mimi wacha tu pia ni try. Maybe nitaingia kwa system alafu nitaanza kuandika vitabu nikiwa huko. Because you know you also need fund. Unaona hii pocket money yangu nilisave. Nimejituma, nimesave, nitatumia kufanya hii biashara ya kuandika. So I decided wacha pia bado naweza andika nikifanya job. Nikuange like maybe the development scholar who writes. After the 200 application, I was like fuck it. I was like I'm done. I'm not doing this. Ndipo nika realize this is data. hakuna mtu mwenye alireply na wenye alireply walikuwa wanasema I'm sorry. And I was like, no wonder watu Cambridge wanafanya ukweli, watu wanafanya kazi supermarket. It's not because they are lazy. Si mimi nimetry, nimefika hizo 200 application. Then hii system is not ours. Ndio nikashikanisha, nikatafuta kitabu nilikuwa nimesoma before niende. Nikatafuta kitabu kusoma tena. Ndio nikakumbuka yes, instability. Nikarudi kwa kitabu ya Kofi Annan, intervention nilikuwa nimesoma. Sasa hizi zinanimekia sense. So I decided, you know what? I had taken a lot of notes nikiwa Cambridge, nikisoma vitabu mingi because I knew hizi vitabu ni expensive sana, mimi sitaweza kuzinunua. So what I can do, ndazibeba kwa akili yangu na kama ni concept imenibamba, I put it down. So I came back, I stayed here, I spoke to my family, my mom and my children, nikawaambia, and my sisters, nikawaambia, so this is the direction I want to take. It will not be easy. It is scary. The last person aliandika kitabu almost similar to this was killed. So, but me, I have to write it. Na nimesha kubali kuandika hii kitabu. So I decided, let me sit down and write. Nika study pia kina Black Panther movement. Nika study mama ya Tupac vizuri. Nika sema, in life, some people are born with this spirit. And I've always had this spirit. Because mimi nimekuanga tu nikirebel against something that does not make sense to me. Hata kama ni relationship na rebel, kama ni white collar na rebel. And nikajiambia hata for a very long time sitakuwa employed. Kutoka 2017 nimekuwa tu ni hapa pale paperwork online hapa na pale just to survive. Nikajiambia tu I'll still continue doing that as I continue spreading the message of clarity, because in life there comes a time where scholarly humility, fear inafaa kutoka advanced society. Na kama uko na knowledge, because knowledge is supposed to do two things. You advance that knowledge to explain why the society is iko kwa this still same condition, or you provide solutions and you act on them. But mostly our scholarly humility inakata kulink neocolonialism with our inequality, because we are told it's separate, move on, colonization ilifanyika kitambo, move on. But in reality sisi ndio tunaishi the real era of neoliberalism yenye imekuwa produced na hizo structural adjustment program. Na structural adjustment program iliyako ndio counter new economic. Tafuta hiyo document iko online na ni free. Iko tu online, utapata, utai-understand, alafu uangalie the
new economic,
new international economic order, 1971. Yeah. Usitoke kutafuta kupeleka page 5, enda tu utapata the real one. Na pia uangalie the conversation surrounding that, alafu uta understand the wave of decompositions, hiyo assassinations na coups zilifanyika hiyo era, and why we are here, na kwa nini watu wengi walitulia. Cause pia ilikuja na some ile ya okay, let's work with the educated people. Kama atapata kazi Kenya, anaweza enda majuu. Hizo green card nini, kutufunga tu macho, ndio brain drain. Hiyo ndio real brain drain. Yes. So nikajambia mimi, I don't want to die with all this information. Ati nakatu hapo naenda kazi yangu ni kuweka kwa Instagram, I'm in this country, but I'm not contributing to empowerment of our people using the knowledge. Na nimesha connect hizi dots zote. So yeah, so the conversation has taken the continent stage, and yeah, we are having a good conversation on the way forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as we wind up, let's read something from, najua kuna mahali annotate unasomanga.
Yeah. So I think ndasoma poverty of possibility, because this poverty of possibility inatu affect sana. So it goes like this: as long as poverty is profitable for someone, it will continue to be protected. This protection ensures that the most profound theft goes unchallenged? Well, not only the theft of resources, but the theft, but also that of possibility itself. They told us poverty was just lack of money, but that was the first lie, simplistic narrative designed to obscure true violence behind poverty. Poverty is simply not an absence of currency or good. It is theft not only of tangible resources, but of the very possibility to imagine life beyond scarcity. It is hunger that knows not just at the stomach, but at the soul, a slow erasure of identity and hope that begins long before a child even learns their own name. So, narudi nasoma hapa chini penye nime highlight, this erasure of whatever we are facing through poverty was not accident or oversight. It was calculated and systemic act, a deliberate strategy to contain and control and to ensure the vast number of Africans remain trapped within a shrinking circle of possibility. So that is how the violence lives in our reality. Kwa ground. Yeah.
Wow. So this book is available wapi?
Nuria. Nuria na watu wenye wako Africans wenye wako majuu, Amazon.
It's also available at Amazon.
Yeah.
Sawa. Thank you so much.
Asante sana.
For sharing your story with us. Najua you are marketing this book umekuwa all over.
Yeah.
Ulikuwa NTV juzi.
Yeah. Last year, actually it was last year.
6 months ago.
Yeah, 6 months ago.
Ulikuwa Dr. Kingori.
Nilikuwa, yeah.
Sijui kama amepost but.
Sijui bado kama amepost bado, yeah.
Labda tutapost mbele yake. So we wish you the best. And najua there's a new book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Intellectual Chains. The Psychological War on African Intelligence. Hii inatuonyesha how do we continue sustaining the violence. Sasa hii inaingia kwa our mind.
Yes.
Ile mind yenye imetengenezwa na colonial library, yenye inatumika kusustain capital violence, yenye inatuletea uoga, yenye ina take our warrior spirit, na yenye inafanya watu wa understand this economy can benefit all of us if it is well managed.
Yeah.
But hii system yenye tuko nayo cannot do that. So as a people tunafaa kukaa chini, tuongee, tuseme this is what has been happening. But ni watu wangapi wana benefit na hii system? Government ina employing watu wangapi annually? Na ni watu wangapi wana graduating annually? Na ni watu wangapi hata wanaenda university? Unaona? So this psychological war inafaa kutuonyesha this economy that is informal needs to be critically examined, because hiyo ndio inaemploy watu wengi. Watu ngapi wanaenda university? Last year only a quarter ndo walikuwa selected kwenda university. 3/4, and it's something that has been happening. Si watu wengi wanaenda university, especially kwenye mimi niligrow. Si watu wengi wameenda university. So how can we ensure hii system inasaidia au watu wote? Majuu watu wengi wanyoko kwa kuanga wameenda university. Kama mtu ni plumber, bado ana making a very good number amount of money na anaishi kwa dignity. Kwa nini plumbers wetu hawaishi kwa dignity? Mbona wanaishi hand to mouth? Kwa nini hatuna value addition? Kwa nini bado tunayesema ati raw material? What is that? Kwa nini tunaishi kwa economy?
Hiyo ni this book ama this new book?
Zote sasa zina
it's about intelligence.
Yes, about the mind. Na intelligence ni anyone, everybody akona intelligence yake. Na intelligence inatuonyesha even how we consume. Because research has increasingly shown sisi Africans tumekuwa created kuwa consumers, not creators. Even when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to economy, when it comes to education, naona tunaendelea put the same. AI, kila kitu sisi ni consumers. Technology, sisi ni consumers. Mbona tunakubali kuendelea kuwa consumers? Kama education I work, kama education I create creators, tuachane na hiyo education. To decide let's sit down tuanze kitu. Sasa zile watu kwa nyumba waelewani, watu wanakanga chini wanasema acha tu elewana, kama waelewani about something, hata friendship mna deciding tunaenda ku visit ama tutafanya like lazima tuelewane. So as a people lazima tukae chini tuelewane what the hell is going on in this society.
So ulisema ni manuscript?
Hii ni manuscript. Itatoka 1st of April ndio tutakuwa na
1st of April.
1st of May. Mimi bado niko
1st of May.
1st of May.
Oh, imekuwa edited.
Editor amesha hii kitabu ilianza kueditiwa kutoka 2 months ago.
Okay.
Ni venye sasa napendanga kuwa na manuscripts.
So you will print before editing?
Nili print before editing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
because ndio niendelee sasa ongea about it because unajua watu wengi wananiuliza so capital violence then what? Unaona kuna watu understand violence. So for them to understand lazima understand hiyo chain, hiyo colonial library. So hii
is about the colonial library.
The colonial library, the colonial media, the colonial way of reasoning, of even traveling.
Inakaa interesting sana.
Hii sasa ni ya watu wa hii mostly ni ya policy makers. Yeah. But hata pia hata Africans, hata too normal because it's a story. Yeah.
So tutakuita tena for that one.
Sawa, welcome.
Asante sana. So that was conversations in literature. Actually hii ilikuwa episode 51. Tumefanya 50 episodes.
Wow.
So we are starting afresh. This is episode 1 of the new slate after that milestone until tufike 100. So unajua venye after umefanya revolution unasema a new republic.
Yeah.
So these the new conversations in literature with Miyamoto Muswahili, not with Eric Rogara. This is Conversations in Literature. Subscribe to our channel if you've not subscribed to it. Roaring Simba Network. Conversations in Literature is sponsored by Nairobi Academic Press. Until siku hiyo ingine.